Hey guys, welcome to the Armor Pilgrim fights video. In this video, you're going to see a collection of fights that I did with the Armor Pilgrim. There's going to be a little bit of music in the background. Hopefully it doesn't overtake my voice. I'm kind of experimenting with new video recording methods. So this first fight is against a AUG Navy, Augur Navy issue. And you can see here, I'm in the Pilgrim, cloaked, armor fit. I'm watching this gate here. I'm in PF, the entrance system to Syndicate. And there's a fight going on. So I kind of want to get involved in this fight, but it's a little bit more than I can take. Because it's a fight with two people, I have the opportunity to three-way and potentially stay on one person's side until it's over and then switch sides. But they've got a little bit too much, so I want to let it go down a little bit. You see now we've dropped down to 2 ships. That's much more manageable. Bellicose is going to be rapid light missiles. I'd rather kill the Armor Navy issue. Okay. So now those two guys are together. They chased off the other two. So like most of the things I do, I'm going to be stalking, just waiting for the right opportunity. You got to be patient. This ship is all about patience, especially the armor fit for the Pilgrim. Turn that music down a little bit. The armor fit for the Pilgrim requires even more patience than the shield fit because the shield fit is so fast and agile that it can escape much more easily than the Armor Pilgrim. The Armor Pilgrim, you're a little bit slow, and you're pretty much committed to the fight once you go in. I mean, you have your newts that can allow you to remove some tackles, but overall, you're pretty committed. Now, you saw I just checked the info on the ship. You know, despite how long you play the game, it's good to check the info on ships to make sure you understand that ship so that you can tailor your tactics to it. Local's down to just me and 3 people, so it's probably just this guy and his buddy. I think I'm pretty safe to engage right now. I saw from his ship info that he does in fact have lasers, therefore I can turn off his DPS, and that should make this a pretty much easy fight so long as his buddy doesn't get involved. So if it's just me and him, I've got this with no problem whatsoever. Got to make sure my newts are staggered to keep that cap dead. With no capacitor, he's going to have really hard time running any tank he has, whether it's buffer or active armor. He's going to be an armor tank no matter what. It's probably a buffer tank because it's an Augur Navy issue. His lasers, yeah, he's going to get off a shot here and there, but it's going to really struggle. You see now that some of his buddies are coming in. We've got the Bellicose at 200, warping down probably in a second. You've got the Prophecy also at a tactical that would probably want to get involved here. Bellicose is in. I'm not even having to run my armor repair yet, so DPS incoming is just from his drone so far, but now I'm going to have the Bellicose DPS on me, and in just a second I'm going to have the drone DPS from the Prophecy. So at this point I'm aligning out because I realize that I've probably lost this fight. So what I start doing is I start putting distance between me and the rest of their fleet. I'm going to drag them out and stretch them. You see me do this a lot. Is I stretch their fleet. Let's leave the Augur Navy issue way in the back and then start to move away as I potentially decide whether or not I want to engage the Bellicose at that range or just run away. And that's what I did. I ended up just running away because that was a fight that I probably couldn't win, which, as you're going to see right here, it's pretty much the same deal. One of the things about this ship that you got to realize is that it's ships I like at Eve are ships that allow me to go in, take a shot, and if it's not working out, to leave. So that's a big part of solo PvP. If you have to commit 100% every single time, like say you're in a Deimos, I've tried to make Deimos guides, and they're so committal that it's a very difficult ship to fly and not lose constantly. So I've got tons of Deimos videos, some of them very good, but I just can't consistently make that ship work because it's so committal and people blob so often that it's a very difficult tactic to do unless you've got some monster tank that's just unstoppable. So right now, again, I'm stalking. I want to engage this Hurricane. Checking my scan, making sure there's nothing else that's going to be a threat. I'm going to go ahead and set a keep at of 20K. That's going to get me at the right range and hopefully keep me at the right range. Orbit might be better in this case. However, I'm wanting to stay away from that gate, so That's kind of why I did the keep at. So he's going to charge towards me, which is going to push me away from the gate and push him away from the gate. It's kind of what I'm thinking. So I uncloak, wait for my targeting delay, get drones on, tracking disruptors. You can see he's a 425 autocannon. That means that with my tracking disruptors, he's not going to be able to touch me. There's an Ibis coming through. Not concerned. I want to really kill his capacitor fast. He's obviously a shield tank, I can see, which is good for my infiltrators, but it looks like he might be an ASB, or I thought I saw an active rep there. So my tracking disruptors right here are removing all of his DPS from me except for his drones. His drones aren't doing a whole lot. I'm doing some good DPS to him. I should have my infiltrators expanded so I could see if he was attacking them. That's just basic good habits to make sure your drones aren't dying. So at this point, I'm approaching, and I have no idea why I'm approaching. I guess I was maybe getting out of range or something. I've got my micro-warp drive off to save capacitor. In the Armor Pilgrim, you've got to be much more cautious of your capacitor than you do in the Shield Pilgrim. Because once you have to start running that armor rep, it's all over. I mean, your capacitor is going to be heavily stressed, and you cannot run Newt's armor rep and micro-warp drive all at the same time for any length of time. So keep that in mind. You get 2 out of 3, but all 3 is going to really stress you. Now there's a Nighthawk on field. Nighthawk is a missile boat, very heavy tank, and while it does have some stuff I can Newt off, I probably can't kill the Nighthawk at this time. My best bet is to try to kill the Hurricane. Hurricane doesn't have any micro-warp drive, but he is still dragging me, I believe, towards that Nighthawk, and the Nighthawk is charging me. So what I need to do here, and this is really important, is I need to start moving away so that that Nighthawk doesn't compress in on me and get a scram or a web or anything like that. And then once I get that Nighthawk right in my nice 20k zone, I want to go to a keep at on the Nighthawk if possible. But right now I'm just moving away still. I want to prioritize my newts. That Hurricane's going to be capped dead for a while. He can't chase me. I can take my newts off him, just leave some tracking disruptors on him. He's no threat because he's still capped dead. I can still keep DPS on him, and if he doesn't warp, I might be able to kill him. But you see that this Nighthawk was, in fact, able to get in on me and get a web and, not a scram, a web and a long point. I need to hit my cap booster right now. It's cap dead, and I need to get that 3rd newt on him. See, I went cap dead, so I lost a newt, but I was still able to drop his point and web. However, he has a Nas on me. My armor tank's getting stressed at this point. There is a Sleipnir on the field. He hasn't really been able to do much DPS to me at this range, but he's coming in, and once the Sleipnir gets on top of me, I'm in big trouble. I need to take, I don't know why I have a tracking disruptor on the Nighthawk. I need to have a tracking disruptor on that Sleipnir, because even though he's just grazing me right now, I can remove a little bit of that DPS. I've escaped the clutches of the Nighthawk, and now I'm moving away, but right as I had escaped and basically got myself into a safe position where I can disengage this fight right now if I wanted to. I could just completely leave the battlefield. And it might not be a bad idea because I could kill a Sleipnir given the time and given the fact if he was just by himself or only had a few support ships around him. But that Nighthawk is a ship that's going to be able to do non-stop steady DPS to me no matter what. All the drones on me are doing DPS. I've got that AAR down there that's chewing through its nanite charges. So yeah, I can stay on field for a while. I've just taken drugs. I think it was standard exile. And I can stay on field here for a while, but my capacitor is my biggest limitation. And now we see that this Firetail's come in, and he's got a web, and it looks like a long point on me because my micro-warp drive is still going. So always prioritize the guy who is the biggest threat to you at the moment. So at this moment, the Firetail is the biggest threat to me beyond, like, for sure. 100%. Firetail is the only threat to me in this fight at this moment. The Nighthawk's going to be able to put a little bit of DPS on me, Sleipnir, a little bit of drone DPS. I should have a tracking disruptor on the Sleipnir. However, I shouldn't have one on the Nighthawk. I don't know why I'm wasting capacitor over there. That's just a big mistake. I accidentally turned it on, I think, and forgot about it in the rush of everything. But right now, the Firetail is the biggest threat. So I need to neutralize him, get newts on him, staggered ideally. He's going to be putting a little bit of DPS on me with guns. I might as well put a tracking disruptor on him. Keep my capacitor up. Make sure I don't run my AAR too much. I should go ahead and turn it off now. Keep moving away. So even though I'm running without a micro warp drive here and not moving all that fast, I want to constantly be moving away from the guys who are charging in, that being the Sleipnir right now. He is a huge threat. I need to get a newt onto that Sleipnir as fast as possible. I need to be using some kind of like keep at 100K or something like that to delay his arrival as much as possible so that once he does arrive, I'm hopefully not scrammed web by him. If I get scrammed web by the Firetail and the Sleipnir at the same time, I'm in big trouble. So I need to kill this Firetail and get him off of me so that I can free up those newts and be able to deal with this Sleipnir who is right on top of me right now. It looks like the Firetail goes down, so that's good. I've got a kill out of this whole thing at least. But now the Sleipnir's on top of me. The Sleipnir, depending on his fit. Now, if it was me in that Sleipnir, I'd be doing a ton of DPS, way more than this Pilgrim could tank. I would be, it's passive DPS, so it can't be neuted off, but the tracking disruptors could help. And I would have a pretty huge tank. However, since they're usually active tanks, my newts can lower that down. So by putting DPS on him, I can put some stress on him, maybe scare him a little bit. However, this guy doesn't appear to have any tackle. So I have the feeling that this guy was actually out ratting, doing anomalies or something in his Sleipnir. Either that or he forgot to tackle me when he got in, because he had a good opportunity to hold me down and potentially keep me there long enough for the Nighthawk to also get on me, and then I'm in a little bit of trouble. But as it is right now, I was able to newt him and back him off, get some range between me and him, and warp away. So it's not the fight that I would really like. I mean, in that situation, I would have really liked to have killed the Hurricane, the Firetail, and the Sleipnir. And I was a little disappointed that I wasn't able to. But at the same time, this is more of a safe ship. You're not going and taking crazy risks. The risks you do take are balanced by the fact that you have newts that get you out of the trouble you get yourself into. So, it's not like a Tyrannus where I just throw it at it and just go crazy. You got to fly a little bit safer in this. You don't want to be too risky. So I don't know why my drones weren't in their proper categories, but I'm in Amy low sec. And I just warped in, or I was going through system, and just by habit, even though almost no one rats in belts or mines in belts anymore, just by habit I decided I'm going to look in this belt and scan the belts, and I saw there's an arbitrator and a venture. So I'm assuming they're together. It doesn't appear that they're fighting. So venture's no threat. Just ignore him and engage the arbitrator. Some arbitrators have turrets, so tracking disruptor might be able to help here, but probably not. They're mostly drone boats. Yeah, as you can see, he has heavy anode particle stream. I believe that's, I don't even know if that's a laser. Is that a blaster? There's like some missiles going out there or something. I don't even know what's going on. I think he's got Tech 1 drones, Tech 1 warriors. So yeah, this is not even really a fight. This is a gank. This guy's just has no chance. But it shows that low-sec PvP, at least as I know it, is still alive to some degree. Even if it is kind of a sad gank. I have a feeling that guy was actually dual boxing. That was his venture. So he wasn't able to control both characters very well as the fight was going on, and that's why his pod stayed a little bit longer than it should, because he was trying to get the venture out. So I go in and loot the wreck. I think we're going to see it's a pretty terrible fit. And I think I felt bad for that guy, so I ended up sending him like 10 million ISK or something, or 20. Help him buy a new ship. I go into every fight assuming it's going to be a hard fight. I don't give my opponents any extra advantages because they might be poorly fit or not know how to PvP. That's a good way to die. So I treat every single fight like it's going to be a hard fight. And then if I find out afterwards that the guy was just a noob out there ratting in a belt, then I try to send them a little bit of ISK, help them out, and also push them to the website because that's probably the fastest way you can learn to get better. In this fight, I just engaged the Caracal that was in an ice belt. I'm in DUV Syndicate. There's really nothing at all special about this except just I'm in an armor ship. I'm killing the Caracal. There's one point that's really important to note here. It's because the Armor Pilgrim has tank, an active tank. Caracals are much less risky. You'll see when I'm in the Shield Pilgrim. I don't know why I consume that. But you'll see when I'm in the Shield Pilgrim, when I take on Caracals, even just 1v1 versus a Caracal, it's a little bit scary because they can put out 400 plus DPS, if only for a short while. It's long enough to do some damage. So this one is kind of to show you the escapability of the ship. I'm back in EF-F. This was back when I was harassing the guys who lived here. They ended up really disliking me for it. But I've said that. I'm sure you've heard it before in other videos. It's a good way to get people to remember you because they still remember me and try to talk smack when they see me in local. But I wasn't doing it because I disliked them. I'd never come across these people until I made this video. I just wanted to make the video, and they were a good group and a good area nearby for me to make the video. So you can see I'm kind of moving through the systems. DUV was a little side system that they used a lot for mining. So a lot of times what I would do is I'd log in and I'd immediately run to this system because I'd be logged in cloaked over in EF, and then I would jump into DUV and quickly warp to the ice belt or whatever asteroid anomaly there happened to be. You can see there's nothing there. And so a lot of times I come in and I start scanning, looking for stuff in this system, but it seemed like every time I was in this system, the only thing I would find would be people in pause towers. Very rarely I'd catch some miners in the belts or anomalies, or actually the anomaly is only never the belts, I don't think. I caught some people in the belts over in their other system off EF. I forget the name of it. So one of the things that's important to note here is I'd already been hunting these guys for a while. So at this point, whenever they saw me move, they would kind of fleet up and form a quick little fleet to come try to kill me. So when I jumped into a side system like this, they assumed I would jump back to EF. I often had my Alt Hans, even if he wasn't in fleet, I would have my Alt Hans cloaked, watching to make sure there wasn't a huge gate camp. You can see there's a Purifier, Steve Aoki. The guy happens to be in local as well. Thank you for not renaming your ship, so I know that it's actually a person here. He's on gate. So I'm going to consider at this point, do I engage and he jump, or do I wait and see if he engages? And then potentially, if I don't have eyes on the other side, I don't think I did because there's nothing in fleet. If I engage and there's a fleet on the other side that's responded, they could jump into me, and then that's a big risk. So I decided to jump just to be safe. Whether he jumps or not, I'm going to jump and see what's on the other side of the gate because of safety reasons. I don't want to engage that guy on the gate and then 20 ships jump into me. So I jump across and I see it's clear. Only thing on scan is the Raptor. I decide that I'm going to uncloak and I'm going to start engaging and to see if either one of these ships will engage. The Raptor jumps away, but hold on. The Purifier engages. Now, this isn't going to happen to you very often that a Purifier is going to try to solo engage a Pilgrim. But what's happening here, and this guy's just a little bit uneducated about the fact that his ship can't tank me or tackle me for any length of time. He's wanting to hold me on field long enough for his fleet to get here because people are saying, oh, all right, we're forming up, we're forming up. And he got a little overzealous before they were actually undocked and ready and went ahead and engaged me. So this is what I'm saying about, I say that a lot of times these people get so mad at you that they just do things that overextend themselves and make themselves more vulnerable. There was no reason for him to take that risk. And afterwards, I'm sure he thought to himself, man, that was dumb of me to engage before my guys were ready. And his guys are probably saying on comms, well, we weren't ready, man. We weren't ready. But they disliked me so much. It didn't matter. You can see people still coming on scan right now. They disliked me so much that they thought, you know, I'm going to take a risk. And if I lose my ship to kill this guy, it's worthwhile. I go in and try to loot. I wasn't able to loot. Didn't have enough cargo space, or I overshot the wreck. The Rupture that came to save him landed on field. I'm looking for a good fight here. I could kill the Rupture, no problem. However, it's getting a little bit scary now. 2 Ruptures, a Brutix, and a Drake. Drake's going to apply pretty steady DPS to me. I imagine he's heavy missile fit. Now we've got an Ares, and is that 3 Ruptures now? Yeah, 3 Ruptures now. So at this point, I just cloaked up, decided it's not worth fighting this. One thing I could do is start moving away from them, get a little bit of space between me and their fleet, and then uncloak at, say, 50 kilometers. And you'll see me do this in some videos. I'm not really sure where, but I get about 50 kilometers off. It almost seems like it should be this fight. I did it. But 50 kilometers off, I uncloak, hit the micro-warp drive, and the only thing that can run out and catch me, it's not so good now that they got an Ishtar and Omen Navy, but the only thing that could run out and catch me would be that Ares that's now gone. And that would basically bait that Ares to chase me. And I think it's a good tactic for you to use. Is you see a blob like this, and it's the same as like if you've gotten my interceptor guides, anti-interceptor. When they see something off the fleet and they want to tackle it, they'll send their fastest stuff towards it. Their fastest stuff's going to run out towards it, and it's going to separate itself from the fleet and end up getting killed and giving you a great opportunity for a fight. You can see they definitely were responding to me. It was just kind of a kitchen sink quick form up where they didn't have any fleet concept or anything. It was just grab a PvP ship, undock, and go to the gate. I think I was sharing the image. But basically, that was the Armor Pilgrim video. Like I've said a lot in the past, the Armor Pilgrim is a great ship, and 1 versus 1, it's way better than the Pilgrim. Way better than the Shield Pilgrim. Like I was saying earlier about the Caracal, you can take on a much wider range of targets with the Armor Pilgrim. If I was in low sec, I would fly the Armor Pilgrim. It's only in null sec that I see the Shield Pilgrim having a distinct advantage over the Armor Pilgrim based on the fact that it's fast. It can reapproach gates and gate camps where it's bubbled. If you're not bubbled, then you just cloak and warp away, and it's no big deal. Like in low sec, it's no big deal to escape a gate camp, even with the Armor Pilgrim. But with the Shield Pilgrim, you go into null sec and you're bubbled. You can't warp away, so you got to reapproach the gate or try to sneak out of the bubble. Having that extra agility and speed has saved my ship more times than I can count. So it allows you to penetrate deeper, to stay safer, die less often. And it also, once the fights go bad, once the fights go bad, it allows you to escape because you're so fast that you can separate and stretch their ships and newt while you're going. And it just works better in null sec. So that's my advice. Armor Pilgrim for low sec, or null sec if you're going to be very, very patient and not jump many gates. But mainly low sec for the Armor Pilgrim and null sec for the Shield.